Let's bring in the columnist for the Tampa Bay Times, Rick Stroud, back on the program. I think I asked you last time you're on, how's morale? How's morale today in Tampa?
Well, Dan, the Bucs want to keep the party going. I mean, Tom Brady got kicked out of a workout the other day by a Parks and Rec lady, okay? So, you had to have some muscle coming in here. So he's got the guy that, nobody wants to party more than Rob Gronkowski, and they're excited to have him. They think he's going to bring a lot to their football team. I think the fans are jacked up, and, it just – who's next, right? I mean, we're
Edelman.
Yeah, that's what I think. They should have a kind of a Masked Singer Tampa Bay edition, where the guy gets up there and try to figure out, it's Robert Kraft. No, it's just crazy,
That's
right?
good.
I mean, we're going to see Matt Damon and Mark Wahlberg and Ben Affleck hanging out at St. Petersburg. I mean, this is nuts.
How did Brady end up in this park, and who was he in the park with?
I don't know how he ended up in a park. I mean, I would think, for goodness sakes, they can find, some place that's not like a municipal Tampa, tree-lined place. But my understanding is that, he does want to find a place to work out with some of his guys. I would think that would be indoors more than outdoors. But, yeah, it's just kind of nuts. The Tampa mayor was on with the St. Pete mayor, and they were having their talk about coronavirus. And she goes, oh, yeah, by the way, we found that this guy was, working out, and then one of our Parks and Rec lady came up, and it turned out to be Tom Brady. So, yeah, he got kicked out.
Well, when I heard Tom Brady had been cited, and then I said, wait a minute, how are they spelling cited? Is it with an S or a C?
Yeah.
Isn't there any room in the Jeter house that he could work out?
Of course there is. I mean, his media room is, you could hold a passing camp in there. Are you kidding me? The thing's 30,000 square feet. But, but I guess he wanted some fresh air or something. It was just a weird story, and it wouldn't have happened in Brookline, I can tell you that.
You have Gronk coming to town, and I'm cautiously optimistic. I still think this is a playoff team. I think they'll firm up the offensive line. Maybe they trade for Trent Williams, but, they get the offensive line situated. Now you got a legitimate playoff team here. I don't know what Gronk's addition is going to mean, and I don't know what it means for the future of O.J. Howard. So can you fill us in with some of the gray area there?
Yeah, I think what the addition means is that, for all the antics that you see with Gronk off the field, I mean, he's a seriously hard worker, right? And Brady, when he came here, made the Bucs aware that Gronk wanted to play here, wanted to play again, wanted to play in Tampa with him. So he's got somebody he's familiar with. That's important. He's going to help that room. And right now it's a crowded one, right? You mentioned O.J. Howard. Now, obviously if they get blown away by an offer, and I don't know what that would be, a second-round pick or something like it, they would consider trading him. They got a lot of tight ends with Cam Brate and some others. But right now, unless something happens again in the next 2 days, I mean, their plan is to go with a lot of 12 personnel. We saw Brady do that with Aaron Hernandez and Gronk up there in New England. They certainly could line up that way, and they think that O.J. Howard, who's he's still on his rookie contract, so he's a cheap guy right now, and they don't have to make a decision until May on the fifth-year option. So could he get traded? Yes. It hasn't happened yet. I don't know what leverage they really have. Everybody knows they got a surplus of tight ends, so we'll know pretty soon. How
are season ticket sales?
Well, they were through the roof. The big question is, can people use them? I mean, Ticketmaster's not refunding right now, so that's a problem. But they had, the day they signed Brady, they had like an 8,000 waiting list online just to be able to order them. So, look, they'll sell out that building. There's no doubt about that. This just ratchets it up even more. And but again, here we are in a 100-year pandemic, and no one really knows if they do play whether fans can actually go to the games or not. So that part's more than unfortunate. Of course, there's bigger things going on in the world than football, certainly. But they're excited. I mean, how could you not be, right?
Can you be objective and look at this team and honestly look at them and say it feels like they're like the Cleveland Browns last year, where they were way too hot, and I said this team is not a playoff team.
Yeah, I can't be objective. Excuse me, Dan, I'm getting choked up, not because of the question, but I can't be objective. I think, I had a couple coaches tell me the way they would describe this team was below average, but improving. And so, that's sobering, right? If you're hearing that from inside the building. One person told me we're not as good as everybody else thinks we are, but we're going to be pretty good. So you still got to do it on the field. I mean, this guy's played for the same coach, the same system for 20 years, and so there's going to be adjustments, right? But they had a young defense. I mean, they got some guys back in free agency. They re-signed Shaq Barrett and Ndamukong Suh, of course, and Jason Pierre-Paul, and the secondary grew up. So, the division's good. You've got to beat New Orleans. New Orleans still has better personnel. New Orleans still has 3 straight NFC championships, and they still got Drew Brees. So, I mean, until you can knock those guys out, you're not even a favorite in my mind to win the division.
What happens, though, we're talking to Rick Stroud, the columnist for the Tampa Bay Times. What happens, though, Rick, is we in the media, we root for a story. I was rooting for Brady to go someplace else because it would give me content to talk about. Gronk coming back gives us content. Draft coming, all these things. So we're sort of rooting for Tampa to do well as if we're going to say to Bill Belichick, oh, so you were the genius here? Or, we want to get back at the evil empire, the New England Patriots, by rooting for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I just feel like, and I saw Vegas, the odds, they went from the 6th best odds to the 4th best odds to win the Super Bowl. That makes me nervous. Crazy. That makes me nervous here.
Yeah, I'd be nervous. I mean, history says you're not going to the Super Bowl in your hometown, right? So they've got that going against them. But look, it is fun. It is a good story. You root for stories. No one's rooted harder for a story than me than covering a team that's got a .387 career winning percentage. So I think that it is a good story. And look, these are good football players. I mean, Brady. No one's ever done this before at 43, right? But he still can throw and he still can play. This is not Peyton Manning, coming out of Indianapolis where he's all broken down. So. Let's see how it goes. I mean, I think it could be fun. They had a decent football team last year. They were 7-7. They should have done better. We know about the turnovers in Jameis Winston. Bruce Arians is a hell of a coach. I mean, he didn't win those awards and all those games by not knowing football. So I think it's worth, if you're a Bucs fan, getting excited about it, or an NFL fan. I don't think it's going to be Michael Jordan with the Wizards. I think this is something that's legit.
It's good to talk to you, Rick. Would you rather have Brady and Gronk or the city hosting the Super Bowl?
Ooh, wow. Super Bowls have been here. They're big events, man. I think I'd rather see Brady and Gronk. Just saying.
No, I get it. That's probably the right answer there. But I'll let Tampa, go after you now because you don't care about this city.
Yeah, here we go.
Thank you, Rick. We appreciate your time as always.
Thanks, Dan.
That's Rick Stroud. He covers the Buccaneers and the NFL for the Tampa Bay Times.